Hello riders and cycle hunters fans, we got a good one for you. One of the most, well, second most popular videos on our channel currently is a video about a Burgman 650 scooter, because you guys apparently really love these things, and I can honestly tell you why, and we'll go over that a little bit in this video here. But I said it is the second most popular video. One of the most popular videos is actually a riding video, so we figure why not combine the two. If you like the content you're seeing, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like, share the videos. It helps us out. We can get more of these videos out for you guys. Alright, self-promotion aside, let's get down to it. What is this? So this is a 2006 Suzuki Burgman 650. This is the Executive Edition. Now, the Executive Edition, I believe, at a minimum comes with power folding mirrors. We'll show you those in a minute. And an electronically adjusted windscreen where it goes up and down at the push of a button. I don't know what else the Executive model comes with, but I'm sure you guys will let us know down in the comments all the little odds and ends that you get with an Executive model. But those are kind of the big standouts. If you get a standard Burgman, it doesn't come with, you know, the folding mirrors or the power shield. So those are kind of the big standouts on it. This one here has been loved. I mean, it does have a couple of blemishes here and there, but overall, a really good scooter for the mileage. I believe the mileage on this one is 26,000 miles. So, you know, in some people's terms, barely broken in. But we're going to get on the scooter. We're going to go over a couple of the features, you know, the controls, and then we're going to get this thing out on the road. And for this video, I think one of the main questions, especially when it comes to scooters, is, you know, how do these things perform at highway speeds? I think that's the main concern a lot of people have on scooters is, will it go highway speeds? Will it be stable at highway speeds? So that's actually where we're going to go first when we get mounted up onto this thing. So we're actually going to take this up to the highway, go highway speeds, and then kind of give you an idea of what to expect when you're riding a scooter on the highway. Front wheel's a 15-inch wheel, and the back wheel's a 14-inch wheel. Now, most of your standard small size compact cars have those size wheels, and they do just fine on the highway. So I suspect it's going to be the same on the scooter, but we really won't know until we get out there. So let's throw a leg over this thing and go over the controls. I'm so used to riding motorcycles, I said throw a leg over. On a scooter, we just step through. Now, if you've never ridden a scooter before, I highly recommend you at least try one once in your life. You'll find that you actually really do enjoy scooters. I know I fought it for years, but I kind of dig scooters. I think they're easy to just get on and go. They're automatic, so you're not messing around with the clutch. And on some days, you know, that's just what you want to do. You just want to get on and go, twist and go. So first thing we're going to do is fire this pig up. Keys right centrally located. Turn the key on. Now this is a multi-function ignition system. You can open the trunk with the key. You can also actually lock the whole setup here, where it actually blocks a key from being able to get in there, so it actually deters people from stealing, you know, your scooter, so they can't get a drill in there and kind of drill it out. So to start it, you just want to squeeze one of the brakes or both. Starts up nice and easy. It's nice and quiet. This is all stock. It's got, you know, stock muffler. Nothing's been modified on it. Again, this being the Executive, if you push this little blue button up here, race mode, so power folding mirrors there, and now the scooter is as wide as the scooter is. It doesn't have anything sticking out past, you know, like the mirrors. Only the farthest thing out now are your levers, you know, and your bar ends here. So I guess power folding mirrors for tight city spaces. or just because it's a cool party trick. Now what I do wish they had is actually power adjustable mirrors, because those suckers are pretty far away. It's not like you're going to be adjusting those on the fly. That's something you're definitely going to want to set up ahead of time. Alright, in addition to the power folding mirrors, you have a power shield. Now you're probably getting, I'd say, a good 5-6 inches of height there. We'll see how that affects us going down the road, if it makes a difference at all. 5'10", 5'11", so we'll see if it keeps the wind off of me, keeps my head from buffeting. So pretty standard on this side, with the exception of the power shield here. You know, on-off switch, you got your starter button down here, and a 4-way switch. On the left-hand side, things are kind of busy over here. You've got power mode, where you put this into power mode. That's going to hold the RPM slightly higher to put you higher in the power curve. This has a CVT transmission, and all that is just a continuously variable transmission. So when you go, you'll see when we go, it'll kind of hold it at a certain RPM, and it'll just stay there as we're accelerating through until we get to our desired speed, and then that's when the RPMs will drop off, and it'll go, you know, into, you know, a reasonable cruising RPM. But as soon as you get on it again, the RPMs will go up to whatever RPM it selects for the peak power, especially if we're in power mode, and it'll accelerate using the maximum torque, I believe it is. I don't think it uses maximum horsepower. I think it tries to hold it in the maximum torque range for the acceleration. In addition to power mode, you do have the option to select between just automatic drive, where everything is twist the throttle and go. You also could select manual mode, where you then use these buttons here up and down to select through pre-selected gear ratios. That's what the transmission has. It has pre-selected gear ratios to simulate shifting, and I think this goes up to 6-speed. We'll have to test that out and see. But to start out, we're just going to put it in drive. Other features: turn signal left, turn signal right, push to cancel, horn, high-low beam. You know, pretty standard fare there. This does have ABS. I don't know if that's a feature of the Executive, but this one does have ABS on it. So if that's something you desire, again, I'm not sure if the Executive is exclusive to having the ABS, but I do know that this is an Executive and it has ABS. So that's about as much as I can tell you in terms of that. So handlebars in a standard position. I'm nice and comfortable. Arms are nice and bent. The seat does have an adjustable backrest, so, you know, for like my lower back, so I can actually push this forward. So for some of you shorter riders, you can actually, you know, move that forward or backward depending on your preference. I think it moves probably about 3 to 4 inches, so it gives you a little bit of adjustability there. Well, let's rock this thing off the center stand and head on out. Alright, I'm going to turn the camera back on right when we're merging onto the highway. I'm not going to do a nice long boring ride to the highway, so I'll see you in a few.
Remember to hit like and subscribe, ding that notification bell for updated content.
Alright, we are about to get onto the highway. One thing I did want to say, I've actually been playing around with the windscreen on this, and believe it or not, it actually does make a difference. It really cuts down on the wind noise and the head buffeting when I move that up or down. I don't know if you can hear it, but here, let's see if it'll... a lot more wind noise here, head buffeting, and I pick it up and it kind of goes away. So for me, at my height, it seems to be effective. So I wouldn't knock it. The display is really easy to read. I know exactly how fast I'm going. I can keep a close eye on my coolant temperatures, even the time. Everything's really visible and easy to read on this screen. So, A+ on the screen if I were to give it a rating. Alright, so we are just going to accelerate at standard acceleration, about half throttle. This thing very easily gets up to speed. It's got plenty of power. So we're right up to speed limit. Stable, you know, it's stable enough. I can take one hand off the handlebar if I need to, you know, scratch my head, whatever I gotta do. But very stable at speed. Let's see if the screen makes a difference at this speed. So a lot more wind blasting me here versus there. It almost dulls it down completely. And then if I move my head forward or back there just slightly, it cuts it down even more. Now, in terms of wind noise, one thing people don't understand is wind noise can actually really put a strain on your hearing. You know, wearing earplugs is definitely recommended, especially if you're going to go for long rides. But I mean, this shield here actually does a really good job of cutting down on a lot of the wind noise. Now, it doesn't eliminate it completely. Obviously, we're in an open cockpit, so it's not going to cut it out completely, but it does a really good job of keeping the wind off of my face and keeping my helmet from buffeting around. And at speed, yeah, like I said, this thing's as stable as can be. I don't feel nervous at all on this. It is real twitchy. I will say that. It responds rapidly to your inputs, and part of that is due to the smaller diameter wheel. But as long as you keep your controls, you know, slow and steady, you should be perfectly fine. Now, I don't know if you can hear it in my voice every once in a while. This is kind of jarring over bumps, but I think it's on account of the fact that the suspension travel isn't the longest on this. You know, the suspension also isn't the best. You know, it's not a high-end sport bike with cartridge forks and multi levels of adjustment. I think you're getting just a very basic spring inside of a shock with some oil set up here, so nothing fancy. And then you've got just two regular shut struts basically on the back, you know, coil over spring or coil over coil on strut type setup in the back. So yeah, it's not the most advanced in suspension, but again, cruising on the highway, you could eat up a ton of miles on this thing. Like I said, I'm really relaxed on this. It's a nice comfortable seating position for me, and the beauty is I'm going to kind of point the camera down, but I can move my feet around here, so I'm not limited to just a foot peg like you would be on a traditional sport bike. I actually have multiple positioning for my feet, and the whole strip down there where my feet are is all rubber. So yeah, I've got all the confidence in the world that my feet aren't going to slip when I put them down there, and I can, like I said, move them around so that I can find a nice comfortable position if, let's say, you know, I get a cramp in one position versus the other. Now, as far as cruising sound, it doesn't make any odd noises. There's no weird sounds coming from the scooter. You get a little bit of whine from that CVT transmission, but again, I think most people realistically are going to have either earplugs in or they're going to have headphones in, and it'll kind of negate that sound. But it's shaping up to be a beautiful day today. I was a little bit worried there in the morning I wasn't going to be able to get this ride in because cloud coverage was looking a little gray and dark, but as you can see, it's starting to shape up to be a pretty good day today. Alright, so that's the highway portion. Like I said, I think this thing performs really well on the highway. I don't see any problem with soaking up a bunch of miles on this thing. Wind doesn't really seem to affect it that much. You know, passing vehicles don't seem to really push it around. You know, it's got a heavy footprint. It is a bigger frame scooter, so yeah, I think as far as highway's concerned, I don't think you'd have many problems on this thing cruising down the highway. So now we're going to go hit up a little bit of back road and see how it does cornering. Actually, I want to try two more things. First thing is we're going to put it into power mode, and we're going to see how the acceleration is. Now we're still only going half throttle. So yeah, power mode's definitely got a little bit more power. And you see it's holding the RPMs up a little bit higher, so that when you goose it, it's actually giving it, again, its peak power. The power mode, I'd say, is for a little bit more aggressive riding. It's funny to say that on a scooter, more aggressive riding, but I guess that's what it is. So we'll slow down here a little bit. We'll put it into manual mode. Again, these are the pre-selected gears. So we'll just do a quick little rip here. So it downshift feels just like a transmission. So we'll give it a little bit, about half throttle. And it is a simulated 5-speed with a 6th gear overdrive. So that's what you get when you put it into manual mode. And actually, you got to be careful there. I almost hit the rev limiter at first. Thing revs up pretty quick. I mean, you almost forget that you're on a scooter when you're riding this thing, because it actually does have some decent, in my opinion, real world power. So there's kind of the differences in the modes, and yeah, like I said, we're gonna head over and hit some twisties. Alright, so we are going up to the little back road here by the shop. And we're just going to keep it in drive for this one here. But again, comfortable ride. You just want to keep riding this thing. There's no, I'm not fatigued at all yet. Been riding it for about half an hour now, and I could go a lot longer. Alright, first corner here. So it's got a real quick turning response is really quick on this. Again, that's due to the smaller wheels. But as far as, you know, going around a corner, this thing's pretty capable on the back roads. I think you'd surprise a bunch of people. You know, I don't think you're keeping up with sport bikes, but I think, you know, a majority of other riders, you're not going to have any problem following along. It's got the power to keep up with them, and you have the ability to go around the corner. You know, got plenty of ground clearance on this. I don't think I'm at any risk of scraping any hard parts. You know, you can probably lean this thing over pretty good before you really have to worry about scraping anything. And realistically, I think the only thing you can scrape on this is possibly the muffler and possibly like the center stand, something like that. But other than that, I mean, everything's up pretty high and tidy on this. Going through this turn here, yeah, turn-in's easy. Yeah, like I said, I don't think you'll have any problems keeping up with, you know, other people on a ride. Might even surprise a few people. If you're really daring, you know, you could try and keep up with those sport bike friends, but but that's completely up to you. But the suspension on this, as I mentioned before, is just your very standard, very basic suspension. But going around the corners here, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's compliant enough that it gives you confidence going through the corners. I don't feel it wiggling around, moving around. It seems pretty planted when you go through the corners. I do know that at least the springs tension on the back shocks are adjustable, so you do have a little bit of, you know, sag adjustability there, so you can move those springs up or down as you choose. Everything on the scooter is cool. The one thing that I'm not a huge fan of, and here we'll do this pulling up to this stop sign here. Just watch the speed, and I'll tell you when the engine braking stops. Still braking, still braking, still braking. This thing engine brakes till about 8 to 10 miles an hour. And it's a little bit confusing because most people, when you think of a scooter, you don't think engine braking. You know, most scooters, when you let off the throttle, it's gonna freewheel until you get back on the throttle, and that's just by design. But this scooter, having a CVT transmission in it, for whatever reason, the programming they put into this, it allows this scooter just to end, like, I don't even have to apply the brakes going into this corner. That's how aggressively this engine braking, if you want to call it that, is set up. And you know, when you're cruising, you just want to modulate your speed. It's nice that you don't have to hit the brakes. But when you're going slow speeds, like I said, it's just a little bit aggressive. You know, I think if they would have stopped that feature at like 15-20 miles an hour, where you'd like a little bit more control, you know, a little bit more predictability. Because I think when you're in a parking lot, 8 to 10 miles an hour is kind of where you're cruising around, and if that engine brake is kind of coming in and out, it can really kind of throw you off, I think. But again, that's just my minor gripe about it. But yeah, coming up to a stop, engine brake, engine brake, engine brake, and then it releases, and then it freewheels. So I don't know, it might not be an issue to most people, but to me, you know, I'm used to traditional scooters that don't do that, so maybe it's just a learning curve, something you got to get used to. But other than that, I mean, it's fully capable of going around corners. Like I said, I don't think you're going to be upset with how it corners. You're also not going to be upset with it when it's on the highway, you know, doing highway speeds. You're able to keep up with traffic, and in most cases you'd actually even be able to, you know, overtake somebody, let's say in the slow lane. You'd be able to overtake them without too many issues. This thing does still have a decent amount of power when you're on the highway at cruising speeds. So if that was a concern you had, it shouldn't really be one. Yeah, the Burgman 650. Again, like I said, this is the executive edition. Oh, even the mirrors fold when you're going down the road, so if you're in a high-speed chase and you got to skip through that real tight place, fold the mirrors and you're ready to go. I don't encourage that, guys. Don't do as I say there. But yeah, I think it's a great vehicle for somebody who's just wants to get on and go, wants to enjoy motorcycling but doesn't want all the hassle of having to figure out the clutch and throttle, and wants a nice step through design, doesn't feel like throwing their leg over, or maybe they can't throw their leg over a bike anymore. I love it. I'll continue to ride this thing. Actually, to be honest with you, I love it so much, this is actually now my scooter. I bought it, so you can't have this one, but we do get plenty of scooters in just like this. And if you're interested in something like this, just head on over to the website, cyclehunters.com. Drop us an email, cyclehunters@gmail.com, and you know, keep an eye on that site. You know, we upload to the site whenever we get a vehicle. You know, it gets put up there, so if it's something you want, we're not hiding vehicles from people. We have them right up on the website, easy for you to see. And Josh tries to get out a walk around video for those bikes as soon as possible, so you can kind of get an idea of what you're purchasing before you purchase, so we can give you the most confidence with your purchase. And to give you an extra added security and confidence in purchase, we have all our bikes get a 48-point checklist where we go over the bike from front tire to back tire and everything in between. If it needs serviced, it gets serviced. And we offer a 30-day 50/50 warranty on parts and labor as well, for a little extra security with your purchase. But that is it for this video here, guys. If you like it, as always, give it a thumbs up. Feel free to leave any comments you like in the comment section below. If I missed anything you feel is worth mentioning, then leave that in the comment section as well. But as always, safe riding, guys. We'll see you in the next video.